Book review time. Here's the last one. We're not doing the Outlaws anymore. I've finally run the gambit, and I don't feel like reading any more about the outlaw motorcycle gangs. But I did want to do one of the more famous authors in general, not only in this genre, and one of the first books covering Hell's Angels, the strange and terrible saga of the outlaw motorcycle gangs. Hell's Angels. So this was one of the first books to really let people know and help people become aware of what was going on with the motorcycle gangs and the Hell's Angels, to be more specific. Hunter S. Thompson spent about 2 years hanging out with them, going on runs and going on rides and doing all of the things that a Hell's Angel does, but he never got a patch, so he didn't actually get initiated into any of the clubs. He was just a writer there. And it's interesting too, because I mean it's Hunter S. Thompson, so he's a great writer. He's a very entertaining writer, and it's a fun read, because a lot of the information, it's hard to tell exactly what is real and what isn't. Now, knowing what we know now, and we have to remember, this book was written in 1966, and this is one of the first pieces of information that people were actually starting to learn about the Hells Angels and motorcycle gangs like that. Hunter S. Thompson spent a lot of time hanging out with the clubs and figuring out exactly how those are run, and it turns out that a lot of these people couldn't necessarily do a lot of real lifetime work. So they couldn't live in the real world. The way that Hunter S. Thompson describes it is they're losers. They're people probably with a low IQ who would have a hard time being in an automated society like we have. And that was in the 1960s. So you could imagine what today's Hells Angels are like if they are not capable of living in a society that is so intertwined. I really like how he postulated about whether or not the rumors were true about the Hells Angels, or if it was all being blown out of proportion. A lot of these things do get blown out of proportion, and it's very easy to take a story like that and then create your own narrative. And Hunter S. Thompson, who is doing that himself, he's creating his own narrative with this. This is previous to his gonzo-style writing, but I don't think that... I mean, like, when it comes to Hunter S. Thompson, I've only read like 4 books from Hunter S. Thompson, so I obviously don't know enough about his writing style and how he wrote, but it seems that he was developing himself into what he was going to be, into the type of writer that he was going to be. But a lot of this stuff, I mean, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to take it with a grain of salt. He's going to write, and he's going to spice up a lot of these pieces. Even in the Hells Angels book, I feel like a lot of the Hells Angels book is more hyperbolic than anything, because the real life story is kind of a little more boring. He did cover a lot of the rapes. There's a lot of rapes that were going on there, but with that, there were a lot of back and forth with people claiming that they weren't actually rapes. They were just gangbangs that went wrong. And that's a crazy sense in itself to think, especially back in the 1960s. But that's how it went. This girl would agree to bang 10 guys, and then she would go in and bang 10 guys in a barn, but she got robbed. So she called the police and said she got raped, and then they come out. So there's a bunch of different variables that you have to take into account when it comes to these types of things, and every scenario is different. Every situation is different. That is one of the big pieces of the pie. That is one of the big things that people talk about when it does come to motorcycle gangs, is the rapes that go on, is how they treat women, because women can't become patched. They have to become mothers. They have to become mamas. They're basically slaves to the club. If they're not somebody else, if they're not a patched member's wife, they're kind of passed around. And that's not all, but there are different women who want to be part of that group. And, you know, is that right or wrong? It's not either. It's just how people want to live their lives. And if that's how they want to live their lives, hey, it is what it is. But Hunter S. Thompson is very entertaining, very fun. It's a very fun read. there was a little bit, and I'm going to go through a video real quick for this, but towards the end of the book, whenever things went sideways with him and the angels, there was a altercation that was going on between this man and his wife, and he was angry at her, and he hit her, and Hunter S. Thompson stood up and said something about him hitting his wife, and obviously that's none of his business. He saw that he was a non-patched, he had no patch, so he wasn't even a member of the Hells Angels, and now you're talking to a Hells Angel like this, and as you guys know through the books that I've already reviewed, that's not something you do. You don't talk to it. You're not hanging out in these clubs, and you don't even have a patch, and you think you're going to tell somebody with a patch how it is. It don't work that way. That ain't how it works. So Hunter S. Thompson got his ass kicked. But he seemed like a nerd. He seemed like a nerd who wanted to hang out with the cool guys and get a story. Like, sure, he got a lot of good content, but it just seemed like he was way more of a nerd. Way more. He was too nervous for my taste. He was too. And this is, we're talking about the guy hanging out with literal outlaws who could kill him if they wanted to. Probably wouldn't get away with it, especially even at that point. You know, we've been on top of our stuff at this point. I don't even know what the fuck that even means. But I love it because reading the book, it is a fun read, but even in the book, you get the sense that in a lot of situations, Hunter S. Thompson is in over his head, and he's not necessarily ready or prepared to be dealing with the types of things that they're used to dealing with, and that being the violence, the rapes, and all the types of things that go with the motorcycle club culture. So once that book came out, there was a lot of controversy because a lot of the Hells Angels were saying that he wasn't telling the truth. He was exaggerating it for the story, which we know that's what everybody does. You can't even watch the news these days. And you know, I cover some of these news stories. You can't even watch the news these days without people making it more hyperbolic and crazier than it's supposed to be, because we're all trying to compete to get eyeballs. And the Hells Angels are like, dude, you're making all this money off of us, and you're literally telling stories about being in the biker clubs, and we ain't getting nothing from it. So yeah, the Hells Angels are a little annoyed that Hunter S. Thompson came in, lived life with the Hells Angels, and then left, wrote a book, and made a lot of money off of it. So here he is here's Hunter S. Thompson being confronted about his book, Hells Angels. Okay.
Author meet critic. It brings together the writer Hunter Thompson and the reader he antagonized the most. That's the bike rider, Hells Angel, Cliff Wortman.
Cliff Wortman. And now, Hunter's looking down on the ground, first of all. Down at the ground. I guess he doesn't want to really see him. He doesn't want to, and he may just not be a confrontational person.
What did you think of the book?
Well, I'll tell you, Al and Hunter, everybody in this room, that book is 60% cheap trash.
Cliff, what is it?
60% cheap trash. 60% cheap trash. But does that go into the Gonzo style? Now, they're looking for the truth, which they're living it, so they would be more aware of it. But of course, people are still in control and want to control their own narrative, so they're going to lie about stuff too. The problem is, when you have a bunch of liars, how do you find out the truth? You probably never do. You just stick with the story that you like the best. So let's continue on.
Hells Angel could be anybody in this room, somebody that likes to ride a motorcycle.
Somebody that likes to ride a motorcycle. You got to do a little bit more if you want to be a Hells Angel, though. Not just ride motorcycles.
I got a job, I got a boat and trailer, I do all things. I raise dogs, I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, let's face it, you're not a typical angel, and I know that, and you know that, so let's not kid ourselves on that.
Boy, they know.
He's like, you're not the typical angel. You got your shit together, you're intelligent, you have a lot of these things going on. A lot of these guys don't have all these things going on, so they're less likely to be acting as civilized as Cliff is.
Do you think the angel sent Cliff here as an emissary, as a minister plenipotentiary with a high college degree and a yearning for bourgeois respectability?
Those are all your words.
Bourgeois respectability. Is the host sticking up for the Hells Angels? Like, what the hell is that?
He said he's not typical.
No.
You see, actually, there are none of us that care what anybody thinks. Because we are us. I am me. What I do in my home is nobody's business.
I feel like the Angels, he seems like a good talker. And from George Christie's book, they do think about this type of stuff. Now, this might have been a little bit before then. Sonny Barger, he might have been, president of the Oakland chapter at this point.
You see, actually, there are none of us that care what anybody thinks. Because we are us. I am me. What I do in my home is nobody's business. I don't give a damn. If they don't like me on my motorcycle, it's too bad.
And you say you read the book and you think that I wasn't saying that? No, I know exactly what I said.
And he was saying that. He was definitely saying that. But the thing is, you have to remember, he's going to say some things that the Hells Angels don't like. He's going to point out things that the Hells Angels don't like, and that is their job to point it out. But they have a good marketing guy here, just like I was talking about with George Christie's book. They try to make sure that they get the guys who have some type of charisma, who are capable of owning a room. Because so far, this guy seems like he's owning the damn room better than Hunter S Thompson. Hunter Thompson's he's a writer, though, so he's not necessarily good at this type of stuff when it comes to dealing with people in person.
2 years into them.
Well, I'd like to then get to the end, but then on why.
Well, let's take a point of the fact you were wrong there, right?
You spent a year with us, why you got your head thumped on.
All right, get to it.
All right, I want to know why we didn't get the 2 kegs of beer that you promised us.
Owning the room. He's owning the room, and everybody's clapping. The Hells Angels are getting the general public, the NPCs, on his side.
Well, this guy here, he's sitting here, he's making $1 million, and he made it off of us. Maybe not quite that much.
Did that Cliff's on his shit though? Well, maybe not $1 million, but he's making a lot.
But
if you knew what I was making on this,
you're making something anyway.
You wouldn't tell me that bite on credit.
We helped you make it, right?
Yeah.
You said
what
all we
making,
wanted, there was nothing about money, nothing about a share in the book, nothing about anything. All we wanted was a couple kegs of beer so we could all get drunk.
And apparently, he never did give them the kegs of beer. Even Sonny Barger mentioned that. The guy never gave us our beer. The guy never gave us our beer.
A copy of the book to each of the Oakland members.
Yeah, I said that.
When you got your head thumped on, you wrote a letter to Ralph and you said...
When you got your head thumped on. That's how you make it more of a serious thing. You got your head thumped on. You got your ass kicked. Which one sounds a little bit easier? Easier. Yeah, easier. Head thump don't sound so bad.
I got beat up and got my head thumped on. I don't owe you guys nothing.
I didn't figure I did. But now, wait a minute.
No, but you didn't tell the people why you got your head thumped.
Wait a minute. Which 2 kegs of beer are you talking about? What are these?
2 kegs that you were going to give us for...
So now they're mad because they whooped his ass, but he still owed them beer. And, it's the honor system.
We've had you in our home. We've fed you. We've given you beer. You didn't pay for nothing when you went on those runs.
I don't think you were in my house. A lot of
pocket,
angels have been in my house and drank a hell of a lot of beer.
Well, sure.
So I think it's fairly well
And
legal.
they still like you. But they don't like what you're doing.
Why did they thump him?
All right, this man
And
here...
they still like you.
You got into a man's...
It feels like they're all still pretty cool with each other, but they got to play up the drama. I mean, it's pro wrestling, right? It's pro wrestling. You do have to play up the drama. That's the only way you're going to get people to care. You have to play up the drama.
Argument.
You have to.
Not right lie.
No,
I
it
heard
ain't.
that this afternoon, and go ahead and tell it.
All right, this is my side of what happened.
Okay, you weren't there, so why don't you preface it?
He wasn't there. He's told what to say because he's better at... Probably, most likely, all the Hells Angels who were there were not as good at speaking and did not know how to own a room like this one.
This is what happened.
Okay.
And you say this isn't right. Junkie George was beating his old lady.
Junkie George?
This is the story. This is the story. Yeah, this is the story. Junkie George. Junkie George. You know what, damn it? The Hells Angels are winning me over too. Winning me over too.
Junkie George.
If you say so.
Now this is what happened. I'm serious. Junkie George was beating his old lady.
I remember
Junkie's George,
right.
Junkie George's dog. Now listen to this. Junkie George's dog bit him, right?
Even the dog. Even the dog was like, bro, chill. Bro, chill. Fucking dog. He's winning me over. God damn it. He's winning me over.
Hey, this is a personal fan. This is a personal feud. If a guy wants to beat his wife and his dog bites him, that's between the three of them, right? You're right. Yeah. All right.
That's between the three of them. That's between the three of them. Dog's probably going to get his ass whooped too.
Here came the peacemaker, right? He doesn't have a patch on. He isn't in the club.
Yeah, that's the thing. He doesn't have a patch on. He's not in the club. You're in the you're in a clubhouse bar, bro. Chill.
You know, and Junkie George is stiff. You walk.
He's drunk.
You walked right up to him and you said, "Only a punk beats his wife and dog." These were your words. Now you said it. You said it to this man, and you backed up.
You finished.
And he said, "Hunter, you want some of this?" And you said no, but you got it anyway.
And he said no.
And when he hit you, 3 or 4 others of them hit you too. You got in your car and you left. That's when in your book you said you found Magoo asleep in the back of your car, so you stopped and he got out. But the next day, if you'd have had any guts after living with all of these people, you'd have come back up there, had a beer, and sat down with everybody and said, "All right, I made a mistake," or "Somebody made a mistake, so what, let's have a drink." And we never seen you since.
Well, why don't you
We never seen our 2 kegs of beer.
Because he ran out. He probably freaked out. He probably got scared. He probably got scared because he's seen the way they handle people, and you know it was probably not that big of a deal to them. The Hells Angels probably were like, whatever, no big deal. Junkie George's got to deal with what he's got to deal with. But what's this Thompson? Where the hell Thompson go? Thompson left? What's his deal?
Are you finished? I was talking to Fripp. It was about 3 in the morning, and we were talking about whether my BSA 650 would run with his chopper. And we were kind of comparing, you know, ratios and top speeds and road. And I was watching, what's his name, Junkie George? I don't know who. I didn't know the guy. But there was somebody about 30 feet to my left beating his wife to a pulp on the rocks. And I thought, well, that's, you know, kind of ugly, but that's the way the game's played in this.
If he'd been beating her that bad, somebody would have stopped her.
Oh no, don't. You're kidding me.
If he was beating her that bad, somebody would have stopped her. See, now it gets weird, right? Gets weird, right? Oh, you can slap her, but don't punch her. Oh, you can punch her only 3 times, but not 4. 4 is going overboard. I mean, what type of rules are they? What type of rules are these things? This is
You're gonna kid everybody else. Nobody stopped him, and you know he beat his wife up. You just said it, right?
He was beating his wife.
Okay,
He wasn't had her on the ground with a big rock or something, you know.
No. She was lying on the rocks, and he was giving her this, you know.
To keep a woman in line, you got to beat him like a rug once in a while, you know.
Jesus, what the fuck? And even Hunter liked that. Even Hunter laughed at that.
He was giving her this, you know.
To keep a woman in line, you got to beat him like a rug once in a while, you know.
Look at everybody laughing.
He was doing it.
Look at everybody laughing. Is that still true?
I mean,
he was doing it.
His dog evidently thought it was wrong because his dog bit him.
Well, I wouldn't pay that much attention because I've been around.
I'm sorry. I love the idea of the dog. I love the idea of the freaking dog biting him. You know, the dog was like, "Bro, chill, chill."
You know?
Wait a minute now. Let me just get to it.
If it had been me and I was going to say something, I'd have said, "Go ahead and beat your old lady, but don't kick your dog in."
You said that.
I'm sorry, Hunter, we're finished.
In other words, I can't.
Well,
you can give my own version of it.
I'm afraid you'll have to do it privately.
right,
Thank you both
all
very much for coming.
Oh, that sucks. We ran out of time. Wow, that sucks. So Hunter couldn't even. That kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. I would have liked for Hunter to be able to say something. At least defend himself a little bit. But good book, very entertaining. That interview was very entertaining, and there's a lot of people that are just like that. But also, you know, there's a lot of really bad, and they're outlaws. So they're doing outlaw stuff. Not good stuff, not good things. So we have to remember that there is a lot of bad things, and it's hard to decipher whether they're good or bad. I think probably it's more likely, especially after reading the different books from the different perspectives of people in the outlaw community. Can you call it a community? It's crazy that outlaws have been going on for so long. I just finished up. We're going old school with the Americas We're doing Black Elk Speaks and Geronimo's story of his life. I'm going to do two northern Native American books from their perspectives. And Geronimo was actually talking about outlaw Indians. There would be outlaw Indians who were kicked off of the reservation. And when they were kicked out, they would they literally wouldn't put them in prison. They wouldn't punish them or anything like that, but they would kick them out of the tribe. So they're excommunicated. They would be excommunicated. But then eventually, after enough outlaw Indians were excommunicated, they started creating their own bands and their own Hell's Angels versions with their own horses and everything. Like, so this is a very natural thing that humans do all the time. They create groups, create hierarchies, and create all these types of things all the time. It's just a natural thing that we do. So it's very interesting. It's very fascinating. So I have a couple more books in line that I want to do with that one, and then we'll continue on. But hey, if you're joining me for the book reviews, thank you for joining me. I know it's not the most thorough. I read these things because they're entertaining. I have fun with them. I want to talk about them. I want to have a little bit of fun with you guys. Maybe we can talk about them. I recommend this book. Very good book. Very fun. Very entertaining. Hunter S. Thompson is a great writer, though, so most of his stuff is going to be entertaining. In any case, it's going to be entertaining. But other than that, guys, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, all that other good jazz, and I will see you guys on the flip side.